You like Trump? Good girl. You like Biden? Alright, good evening. I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but it's a 2-pill. I didn't go through the whole build. Everything pops up at one time or 50 times. And you have to go take care of things. And so I didn't get to video the whole thing. But this is a bias 2-pill with a 2879 16D08s, so it's not the C's. It's biased. It's got a 3-way switch on the front, so down is class C, middle is off, and up is biased. So I'm not done with it yet. I got to hook up the 4-pin jack in the back for the biasing and the on and off. So I got to hook that up. I got a big set of relays in it, and it's a 3-pole relay. And I've been like doing this better because you don't have to put a relay off on the side. It's kind of easier because you don't have to hook up the relay and have the little relay key and the big relay and all that stuff. It's got the bigger, it's got a TIP 41C, I think, transistor in it for the key-up circuit. And the sideband delay is here. I got that epoxy to the board right there. It's got the I guess a 6-pole switch. It's actually 4-pole, I guess. But I got this board the block resistor elevated above the transformer, which I don't know. I ain't really seen much difference, but it's elevated. People think these are constantly on. They're only on when you can, when you're talking, and then they cool down. Of course, you got a fan in here, helps cool it down. So, some theory behind it is that that this could change the input of it, but I've never seen it. I mean, it could. I guess anything could happen. But we got Joe Biden as a president. I didn't see that coming, but anyways, just going to show the biasing board of it. Y'all can see that without the glare. I gotta have these lights up here. If I don't, I can't see shit. I already gotta get new glasses. I just got these. I think they're Almighty's. Amy picked them out. But I've got to where I can't see out in the full distance now. Only close up, I pretty much have to wear the glasses, even though they're just supposed to be for reading and shit. So that's some shit. But anyways, 2-pill. That's with delay. That's a delay on it. Class C without delay. Of course, it's still going to have biasing going through it, but it's still kind of in Class C when this is in operation. It's actually getting biasing to the transistors pretty much all the time, but it's still in Class C when you go out of that because it ain't got a delay, and the 10 ohms are bringing it to ground. So you got two 10 ohms, one to each transistor, kind of 5 ohm range. So I don't know. You got your hot and your ground, your bus bar here, and the reason I built this over on this side is because if he wants to add 2 more transistors to it, make it a full pill, I can put the other 2 transistors in, rewrap input output, and make it a full pill, and all the other stuff will remain the same. Put a this is a good 10 gauge wire on here, which will handle this perfectly fine. It's just a 2 pill. This Fat Boy gets some very good 10 gauge wiring in, and actually if you look back in the day to what the 8 gauge was then, this is within a few millimeters of that, if not a millimeter, of the old 8 gauge. And it all depends on what company you get the wire from. This is Fat Boy gets this made through GSC wire. So there you go. Got a diode here, diode there, output cap here, tuning cap here. I had to tune that through there. The pass-through tune is 1-to-1. You got your cap, your 103, your other little filter cap there. But yeah, that's actually tuned. The input tune tuned to 130. Output tune was 120. And it had to have about 50 puff over here to set the input tune, or the pass-through tune. The wire going to the, from the relay that's making it going in the device is here. That's tied down where that can't move. It's a actual piece of 3/16 strap, and I sorted it down there and went through the ferrite bead and connected to that. That's a piece of phenolic board, and it's got a slice in it, so it's divided from the ground, because hot goes in on here. 14 volts, 14.5, 16, whatever you got going into it, goes in here, comes out, resist it down a little bit, then this is diode, brings it to ground. And the diodes I'm using is, thanks to Fat Cat, is a make sure a 1N5822 diode, which works out great for the HG transistors that I've seen. Works out perfectly fine. So if y'all want to build something like this on your own, I'll pretty much give you the layout of it. This is actually a 15 watt, 15 ohm sandbar resistor, type 61. Of course, these little ferrites I use type 43, just 43, 43, 43, 43, just to save a little bit of money. They're just chokes. So, diodes are getting pretty expensive now. Everything's getting expensive now. Everything, wire, getting these cabinets and everything done, the prices have went up. So this is pretty much done, all besides hooking the switch up, and I'm going to ask him if he's going to run a remote. If he don't, I'm only going to hook this up so when the amp is in the, well, I'll hook it up either way. Both ways. Sideband and Class C. But there you go. Simple little nice 2-pill. I know these lights mess with that, but let's see if I can zoom this in. I take and I put clear coat over top of the transistor, so if you happen to have to wash this out, you can wash it out. The only problem with washing it out would be getting water up in the relays, and you really don't want to do that, but you could if you washed it from here back. If you washed it from here back and then took care of getting water in that relay, because that is a unsealed relay versus something like this. Now I could have put this in there, save some room, and it's perfectly fine for that. But dollar for dollar right now, I actually pay more for this relay than I do this relay. Which a good friend gave me a bunch of these, Rainmaker, gave me a bunch of these, and dollar for dollar, I can buy, this is a 30, some say 30, some say 40 amp relay. Dollar for dollar, I can get this relay cheaper than I can get this relay. And this is actually made in Austria. A friend of mine just told me the other day he bought some of these, and it was the same, it looked to be the same number and everything. And when he got it in, instead of saying Austria right there, it said China. But I would say they're probably about the same thing. This is an 8 amp relay. I think that's what that says. Look in the camera. 8 amp. And that's actually on the AC side of it, but DC side of it carry more than that. It's like wire. People say, well, that 10 gauge wire won't handle say 40 amps or so, but it all depends on how long the length of wire you got. It's like a fuse. You take a fuse. Think about it like this. Let's grab a 30 amp fuse, which might not be a 30 amp. I don't know what it is. But the little small wire in there, let's say this carries 30 amps. You say, well, that little bitty wire can't carry no 30 amps, but it does. And it's made that little for a reason, because if you dead short a 30 amp circuit, this fuse is supposed to blow. It's supposed to pull 30 amps. Sometimes it'll carry a little bit more, a little bit less. But it's supposed to be rated. It's cheap ones. I'm pretty sure they won't carry what a good name brand would. And these actually don't fit in some of the fuse plugs. So be mindful of that when you go to Harbor Freight and buy these. That sometimes they won't fit. They're a little bit longer than regular fuses from the United States, which is hard as hell to find anymore. You go to used to go to the stores and stuff like that and try to find a fuse. You try to find a fuse now, my God. You can only get the newer type fuses. You can't find it for the older cars. But that's here nor there. But that length of wire, say if it was a short piece, if it was a short piece of wire, the shorter it gets, the more amperage it can actually hold. So be mindful of that. The shorter the wire, the more amperage it can hold. And then that would be your fuse, pretty much, in a circuit. That would be the hottest part. So if you took these wires and put a load on it and put that little wire in between it, that little wire would get hotter than the bigger wire. and that would be the fuse point of it, as being my point. But anyways, we'll see what it'll do. It's my little soapbox for the day. This may not look like it's not working, but it is. Let's turn it off. Talk through. You don't want this to move any. This is in peak. It's 1,000-watt slug. That's in peak. You will see it move a little bit because the power of the radio going through it, which is about 15 watts, 20 watts is what it shows on that. It'll actually do about 26, 27, 28. Oh. So on that meter there, that first little mark is 10. Oh, and it's halfway in between. So it's registered 15, but of course the slug's way bigger than what the wattage is putting out on it, so you need a lower slug to read the actual wattage of it. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm just talking about this meter is actually working. I'll flip it around. We put now about 2 watts into this amplifier. I'm just showing you the movement of the thing is moving, because when I talk through, it's not going to move. Hello, 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 hello. And that's because it's been tuned. Alright, amp on in class C. This is your reflect going back towards your radio, which you want it to be very low. This is reflect from the antenna, which you don't want to have any of that either, but sometimes with the big amps you have some, but you really don't want any. And sometimes coax length affects that from your antenna, so you can't change that. Or a jumper in between the amplifier. If you drive a multiple amplifier, that will change. Of course this one will change too, but you have to get that correct sometimes. And sometimes with a Texas Star, you have to correct with coax to do that. And that's just the way it is. So, hello, 400 like always, reflect, audio, audio, audio. Now I have been experimenting with a type 43 on the input, going to class B. Audio, hello. It's going to do the same thing, but it's just got a delay in it now as far as wattage. Alright, going back to the amp. Everything's perfectly fine. Doing what it's supposed to. A really nice little amp, came together really good, which I did, like I said, it took a lot of time to build this because of the things I had to do. I had to go out to the shop, do some work out there on Amy's truck, and even though I got all that work done on that front end and changed the transmission fluid, when I was changing the transmission fluid, I bought a great old big pan from Dollar General. And I said, well, this big pan is going to catch this oil when I go to taking this pan down, which don't have a drain plug, through the wisdom of pretty much all brands of transmissions and everything. Majority of them don't have a drain plug in it. I should have put one in it, but hopefully I won't have to go back into that again. But anyways, taking that oil out of there, I took all the screws out of it but 2, and then I started loosening, barely loosened one off on the right side, and then by the time I started loosening one off on the other side, it dropped and it tilted, and of course oil went past the container, even though the container was twice as big as the pan, and spilled out into the floor. Spilled out into the floor, which I didn't lose all of it. I lost a couple of quarts, but as you know, with the oil, it goes everywhere. And it went in my shoe. Both of them, matter of fact. And I walked around with shoes on, socks that was drenched in ATF transmission fluid. And I was not very happy about that, but I had to get the pan off of it and everything, and it ended up I had to drop the downpipe down with a ratchet strap. I had to pull it down, which is a great tip off of YouTube. I did watch a YouTube video on it, even though I knew what I was doing, but sometimes it's better to get an idea on something. And I do watch a lot of YouTube anyway, so I said, fuck it. I watched one. And it was a big help. Now, I'd have probably done that anyways, but it happened a lot quicker, being that I had his input on that the pan would not come off, being that the downpipe ran about this far up underneath the back of the pan, that would hold it on because of the way the design of the transmission is on the bottom of it. But anyways, it's a great little amp. The only thing I got left to do is like hook that up, and that's going to use a 4-pin jack. If y'all happen to see any of them that I can get for a pretty good price, let me know. I ordered some off the internet, male and female, and it came in these little ones, and they're alright, but the pins are a little close together, and they're kind of hard to get in there and get that in there, and I like the original mic plugs. I need the males are easy to find, it's just the females. I need to get up with Fat Boy and see if he can start getting that stuff in. I like to one-stop shop if I can. And Fat Boy is great for a one-stop shop. You just have to tell him and see if he'll get it in. Some things he might not want to get in. But it don't hurt to ask, I guess. Yeah, that'll be one thing I will ask him. But there it is. If you one-stop shop, saves the shipping, saves everybody all around. But that's the sideband delay. I don't do nothing but when you turn this switch on, that it's a wire run from the relay. So if it's relay right here, if I short it to ground, it'll automatically key up. That's all this does, is send signal. It's got a sniffer network which is coming through this 15 puff, going to this transistor here, and this transistor comes on. When it comes on, it sends signal from here to ground, which base, emitter, and collector, and all that shit. But if I explain it like that, you might not understand. But it just switches. This tells the transistor to come on, and then it switches ground from here or whatever. It could be hot from here to here. Well, actually, it wouldn't do hot because this needs to be grounded, but it could. In a way, I guess, work like that too. Pretty much like a relay. But it's a wire going from there, coming through, back up underneath the board over here to the switch that throws this this capacitor. It's grounded over here on this side, goes up to this switch, and then the ground from it goes to the ground on this. And this is two 1000 puff or 1000 microfarad, which I had to have 2000, and I tied them together and put them there, and then the hot lead goes down, goes up underneath the board. It comes over here to this, and so that makes that capacitance in there. So when you key it, that capacitor charges up with power coming through there, or coming through the input side of there. It charges that, and so when you let off the key, it has to drain this cap. And so when it drains that cap, it holds this relay closed. until it drains down, and then it pops open. It goes back into its natural form. So my battery's getting ready to go dead. But other than that, I was just trying to tell that it's got a diode in between there. Pretty much there you go. 3-pole relay. So if he wants to make this into a full build, that's all I have to do is put another piece of 10 gauge wire, another piece of 10 gauge wire, put a transformer, pills, everything here, and populate that, and rewind the transformers, and hook it up to the relay, and another bias circuit for the other side, ready to go. That's the reason I put it on that side. If I put it in the middle, you have to add to it, move over, that's a bunch of shit. This way, it's easier if you have to upgrade. Think about it. Alright then, later. Have a good day. A blessed day. Appreciate it. Appreciate tuning in. And like and subscribe if you want to. Even though I am a Trump supporter. Alright then. Some of you might like that, some of you might not, but if you don't, fuck it. Later. Alright, we're back on this 2-pill again. I put the remote in the back, and she's hooked up and ready to go. And I'm going to try to make this a standard. Just a little drawing of it. I done put it in another book. But I'm going to try to make that my standard for the 3-way switch one. So number 3 and number 4 is a turning amp on and off. And the other side is, that diode was took out of that. But I drew it in another book. So this one goes to my, this one goes to the cap for the relay. And then the other one goes to ground. And then if I put a LED in there, the ground for the LED will go here, and the hot will go there. So when the power's turned on, the LED comes on, and the LED works for either sideband or so it's blue on sideband and blue on Class C. Appreciate that. That's the guy's amp. This is Ken. I'm using it. But so I made me up a remote for it with the 3-way switch and everything already on it. So if you want a remote for it, because of course this will cost extra, but even though this is push in, I still unhook the power from it. Even though it is a 4-prong plug, it could be maybe manipulated to touch or something. So with this switch in there, if it's in the back of the truck, the amp's in the back of the truck or a car or whatever the hell it is, you can turn it on and off from here, and it will be a light on the remote. But this turns it on and off. That's with delay. This is off. Class C. Off. You see the LED coming on up here? That's with delay. See, it's on. The LED right here is on. And it's only Class C. So I always like hook and unhook. I've got used to that doing the stereo jack ones, but I made me a universal cord for this, a universal one. I'm gonna make this a standard. Not on every amp. I don't always put a remote on every one of them, but in the majority of us, because of them plugs, hard to find them, hard to find the right one. I don't know. I don't know if Fat Boy's carrying the female one yet or not, but I know he carries the male. But I have to get back on that. He adds stuff. It's kind of hard to keep up with it. But I got everything tied down, so if it's in a mobile, uh, it it won't shake around. Everything's tight and tied down. That's a lot of double stick tape up underneath that, and that's the good double stick tape. But everything's wired up. All the wires are up underneath the board where they're supposed to be, and they're insulated with not only their Teflon wire, but they insulate it the whole way with heat shrink. So it gives it a little extra protection. So there you go. And like I said, if you wanted the full peel, it won't be that hard to do. It makes it a lot easier if you have to add one in it instead of picking this up, setting it over, and all that jibber jabber shit that's already over here. Who the fuck cares where it's located in there? Once the cover's on, and I made a little fan pad so when the switch comes on, that the fan will come on. So yeah, that's matter of fact, let me check something right quick. Let's make sure this remote runs this fan with the remote too. I don't want that to get into nothing. Put something stiff there where it won't move, and I can still check. Make sure it's got power. On the remote when the fan comes on. Can't hit nothing. So switch on, have power on the meter. Switch off, have on for sideband, which that's actually class C. You got power, so the fan works on either one of those. And let's check the remote again. Unhook the power. It should, but let's make sure. Alright, the amp is off. Alright, the amp is on, have power. The amp is on class C, power. So yeah. It's always good to check. I was having this not work, And this is just an old mic plug. And I just made a makeshift plug, little remote, and it wouldn't make a connection in there on one of the pins. So the pins are sliced in the middle, and you can spread them apart. And I spread them apart. It makes it tight to get in and out. But everything's like it is. The only thing I got to figure out, and I done texted him and asked him if he wanted a lighted fan or not to go in this thing. And of course, his grill, he is the one making the grills, and he has sent me these, and I can't remember if he said he wanted the smoke one or not, but either way, that's the Vanguard grill that's going to be for his amp. Not this particular one, but it's got fingerprints all over it, but I got the new ones in here. And he's supposed to be making me some new ones. And I might have some new ones that look like that. But of course, it'll be making amps great again around it too. At least that's what I hope. If he can get this up in Chad and cut it with his flow bench, evidently he's got access or owns a water flow table, which is badass. But there you go. And I got a little, it ain't little, it's a piece of copper wire there to make this rigid that holds from the diode down to ground, which it goes to ground anyway. It's got 2 points, makes this rigid. You pick up the amp with that, no trouble. Everything in it's pretty damn rigid. That's all I can say. He didn't want no variable or nothing in it, so I got to put a plug in it here. I got to label it. So, need to write down switch up. Switch up is delay. That will be labeled on the top. It'll have SSB right here on top, and of course the sticker will go on here or down here, and have a body plug in it. And I might send a paper with the diagram of this here. So if you want to make your own remote, if you're not too inclined of making stuff, I wouldn't say do it. Because the wire we have to work with now is a bitch to work with. It's stiff, and I don't like it, and it's if I ain't mistaken, I think it's solid core, the last one I got from Fat Boy. If I ain't mistaken. Maybe not. I don't know. I just ran out my mouth. But, so, maybe and maybe not on that. I got it drew out. So, either way, if you want a remote, it's probably going to end up costing you $75, $80 for that. depending on how long you want the wire. But yeah, so the price of this, were this in a little cabinet used to be about $375, $425, something like that. Then it went up. This is in a bigger cabinet, and I put it in here for a reason. Kind of figured he wasn't gonna use a 2-pill forever, probably. So 9 times out of 10, everybody wants to go up. It wasn't too much money at this time. It added on about 50 extra bucks to go with this cabinet, heat sink, board, everything. So yeah, I went with that. It's better anyways. Easier for me to work on. That makes a lot of difference. And plus, I just like them. That's the best cabinets that's made, if you ask me. And I've run out of little stickers. As of yet, Amy has not learned how to use the, she ain't tried. She's been going through some shit here lately. But, and I don't know if I can get my head wrapped around making labels with the new label maker that she's got either. So, well, I ain't a label maker, it's a Cricut. So, there you go. I put a little epoxy on there, a little epoxy around there to hold that. It's even got double stick tape, but just to make sure that that thing don't come loose and get into the side of the cabinet or anything. I glued epoxied and double stick taped that down. It looks kind of, it don't look too bad, but it's clear epoxy. But put that on there so it don't fall around, get moved around. I don't know if it's going to be base or mobile, so I just done that for the hell of it, and I'll instead of just leaving the wire just jiggling around. I don't know, just an idea I had at the time. But that's epoxy there, because I had some epoxy left over, more or less. But and to keep it from sliding back and forth and mess up the board. But there you go. And I don't know if that epoxy is going to really take to that rubber, but we'll see. I got epoxy up underneath it, and I slid it over top of it, and then I put some back there and some here. So I don't know. Hopefully it'll hold. We'll find out. That's pretty rigid. It's tied in 2 spots, so it'll be alright. I think it's nice. I use big wire on this one. That is a I think that is a 14 gauge. Yeah, 5/8 coil, 14 gauge wire. Just to take up some room in them transformers. They look kind of naked if you don't. But it's hard to work with that when you. I usually use 16 gauge, but it's usually hard to work with that. And it's easy in a 2-pill, but if you get in the 4-pill configuration, you have to go to the 5/8 coil combiner if you're going to use that, and then it looks bulky as hell. So that's the reason we use 16 gauge. 16 to cover it, but that's just what was used in this one. Alright then, this thing got to be 12:45, and so it's in the AM. I'm going to get back off here and get over onto another one for about another hour. So y'all have a good day. Later.